Hi guys, this is Barb with Lost and Floss. Welcome to this channel that's primarily about cross stitch and maybe a few other things thrown in here and there. Today is Monday, February 22nd, and this is video 56. So 22 days into my no new start month, and I was starting to realize I really was going to wait for March, and then I thought, ugh, I have so much now, I just need to get some of it shown and out of the way so that it's not quite as overwhelming. But I've made a lot of really good progress, and so I can't wait to show you what I've been up to. First off, I have to say thank you to Anne. Anne was Leanne's quilt equivalent of me to cross stitch, and she was so kind. She's going through her mom's stuff, and she was so kind to pass along some charts. So I think I'm gonna, there's some like real classic older charts, so I think I'll save those for the end, so that way if you guys want to see them, you can watch towards the end. And also at the end, I'm going to take on, before I put away my Valentine's decorations, I just did a quick little view of the things that I did last year, in case you want to see. I really don't have a ton of Valentine's decorations yet in cross stitch, but I have good intentions to do more. I think if I wasn't finish in February, I know for sure there would have been some things that I would have definitely started, but that'll have to wait for next year because this month is all about no new starts. And I've been making really, really good progress. So let's just jump right in. So the way it works for me is I can only, I think I said the wrong date in my last video, but as of January 31st at 11:59 p.m., I'm done with new starts. And so after that, for the whole month of February, I just work on things that I had started. And I don't know, it's just, I keep saying this, that it's fun, but it's just a great way to feel like you get some of your whips under control. Like, I don't know that I'm finishing quite as many as I did other years, but I'm definitely touching some I haven't touched in quite a while and making some good progress. So let's see what I'm up to. First off is this chart by Drawn Thread, The Night Before Christmas. And this was gifted to me. Oh, I hope this isn't going to be really bad glare. Ooh, let's see. Oh, I'll go like this. I was getting my cabinet, I think. Ooh. So maybe if I go like this. Or like this. Whatever. I think you can see it. I can't tell what I'm reflecting off of. I'm right by a glass front cabinet, and so that might be. Anyways, this is where I'm at with this one. Let's see. Just use this. So I made some really good progress. I hauled it out, and you know, like these letters, the fabric's fairly sheer, so I don't want to really carry my thread, but I'm getting pretty close to the end. So I can't wait to get this one wrapped up. And I always think of Kathy when I stitch it. Hi, Kathy. So I've made a start on stocking number 4. And if you don't remember which one I'm working on, this is the Dimensions Gold Kit Santa's Flight Stocking. This is for my 3rd youngest grandson. I love that. I've seen someone else working on this too on Instagram, and it's fun. She's much further along than I am, so it's fun to see her progress. But basically, Santa has a face. Woo. It looks so red to me, and I kept like checking the colors, and I think that's just how it is. I mean, I made sure I was using the right colors, and you know, I'll see how it looks when I get some more stuff filled in. Then this one is Harrietta and Company by Brenda Gervais. A lot of people have stitched this one already. I'm stitching this on 32 count platinum. Carolyn from the attic helped me pick this out, and last year when I called. And I'm really getting close to almost being done. This is all the called for colors, I think. Maybe one of the pinks isn't, but other than that, I'm just using all the called for colors. And this is another one, like, this is the top of my fabric. Like, I don't know, who does that? Well, I know I'm gonna make it into a pillow, so I know that's gonna be plenty, and then it gives me a lot of other fabric to use for something else, so that's just how I roll. I have, let's see, I had 5 remaining Stitch 10 and 20 challenge pieces left to work on this year, and I got one done this month, but still stitching on some of the other ones. This one I'm starting to really love, although I made a big counting error. This is Broderie à Paris by Sue Hillis Designs, and I stitched this part over on this side, and at first I was gonna leave it, and then it was like, it was getting too much, like, to figure out how I would account for that. So I decided I was just going to rip it out. And luckily, I'm using silk thread, and then with the red, I was able to get it out pretty easily. But I'm starting to, it's just 2 colors. I'm using Cranberry Belle Soie for the red and the called for color for the lighter tone. And I'm loving this top border. I'm probably gonna work on this tonight just to get that part done. It's such a pretty chart. And, you know, I can't wait to like pick out some special buttons to put in there, and I think it's really gonna be fun. So, yes, Virginia. Oh, this is another one of my Stitch 10 and 20s, and I really thought I could just zip through and get it done. And why I did this, but I was doing like all the white before I started the letters, which makes it infinitely harder because you don't have to count nearly as much as with letters. And then if you have the letters on, you can go ahead and like stitch around them pretty easily. Well, that was not the case. And I ended up being fairly off from one row to another. So then I had to rip it out. And now, I forget which row it is. One of the rows, I'm like 1 stitch too far, either to the left or to the right on half the row. And I keep thinking, should I just leave it? I probably could fudge the white to make it work, but I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I might start putting away my unfinished Christmas and concentrate more on spring, and because I know, you know, once March 1st hits, I'm gonna want to start all the new things. So I might put my Christmas away and then haul them back out in fall with the intention that I have to get Yes, Virginia, and let's see, which other one? Oh, Plum Street Home for Christmas done for Christmas 2021. And speaking of Home for Christmas, I mentioned before, this is a lot more stitching than I would have ever guessed. it's just crazy how much stitching is in there. But I have the bottom border totally done, and I really don't know if the color difference shows up that much, but there is. You can tell it's, you know, more of a burgundy house and brown in the quilt at the bottom. So I'm making good progress, but the thought of doing that second quilt band, I don't know. I think I'll be more excited about it in fall. So I think I'm just gonna wait for that. Alrighty, so let's see. Next, Madam Cottontail, another Brenda Gervais. And this chart was gifted to me by Olivia of Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. She did hers as a stand-up. And I was gonna do that, but then after doing the stand-ups for my Halloween pieces, Vinny and Betty, I was looking at this pocket and I'm like, I've never tried a pocket, so I might try something like that rather. We'll see. I still have a lot left to do on it, but making good progress with the bunny. I'd have to look and see what color this is. I can't remember anymore, but I know I have it written down if anyone is looking for that info. I have gotten back to working on the Scarlet House American Farmhouse. I bought this as a kit from Country Sampler in Spring Marine, Wisconsin, the very first time I was there. And I remember walking in and they had a model stitched up. It was one of the first things I saw, and just like looking at it thinking, oh, it has to come home with me. I was a little intimidated because I think this is 36 count. Could it be ale? I also have that information. It's whatever the called for is. Bark. So I really am making pretty good progress. I'm still debating, if you can see on the flowers, the called for color is the gray one. And I'm just not sure if I like how gray that is, or if I want to use the blue, or maybe I'll use some of each. So, to be determined. Then, my friend Kathy and I are, well, I haven't seen hers in a long time, so I don't know, Kathy, where are you at with this? But we're doing, as a SAL, ink circles after the roses. And I'll put the SAL name right after the roses. And I'll put the SAL name right here. This is one of those charts that just, as soon as I saw it, it was like, I am stitching that. And I never, this is my first time doing this big of a geometrical, you know, where it's like an ink circle where, you know, everything's the same, the quadrants are the same. So that can be challenging for me at times. But I'm stitching this on 32 count Autumn, I believe, by Under the Sea fabric. And Barbara from Keepsakes picked out this fabric for me to go with the colors. And I love it. I have to be in the mood to stitch this one, but it's just, there's something about the color combination in there that I just love. So that's that one. I just showed this again on Instagram. I showed this in one of my videos like a while back, but I think a lot of people didn't see it. But this is like a photo thingy thing that spins. It's from Hobby Lobby, and I originally was gonna put these, you know, things in the window, and then I can't remember why I was having problems with that. Then I decided just to use the check background, and put these on magnets according to Priscilla's method. And my magnets were too thick and too weak, and they were flopping all over the place. So I think I glued some of them on, but then I found some stronger magnets that really click on, and they're flatter. And so I decided to go back to like maybe trying to find things for the various seasons. And I thought with that black check, won't green for St. Patrick's Day be really cute? And then as far as the topper, I just put that on a magnet and the washer and put it on a little piece of mat board. So I'll do something with shamrocks or whatever for St. Patrick's Day, hopefully. And then I can easily see Easter. I should get some of the other little, this is the little, what are they called? It's by Lori Holtz. Be in my bonnet. Like little cards or something like that, mini cards. But it seemed like a lot of people hadn't seen the video where I showed that, so I thought I would show it again. Okay, so now we're going to move on to finished projects. The first one is Shepherd's Bush, and this is Bulb. I found this the very first time I was at Stitchville in Minneapolis, and I saw the model and I was like, oh, I have to have that. And at the time I didn't buy the buttons, so I can't remember who it was that told me about which buttons they were, but I went and found them. So, but I love it. I don't know, I might do a little flat fold or a little pillow, one of those two things. So I picked up some fabric the other day. I was getting something at Hobby Lobby, and I thought it would go, but it really didn't. My next whip is Spring Serenade by Brenda Gervais. Just another really cute, quick design. And I just used all the called for colors. This is on 32 count flax, I believe. So fun to stitch. She finished hers on a little box, but I think I might make mine into a pillow. But look at this fabric. Won't that be cute with it? I'm not like overly a yellow person, but for spring, I love it. And the combination of that aqua color with the yellow, I think it'll be so cute together. So I can't wait to get that one moving and hopefully have that done for my next video. Then this is another one of my Stitch 10 and 20 items. It's Where Hearts Rest, Brenda Gervais. I always just called it Nest because I thought that's what it was. I was like surprised when I learned it had a different name. And I stitched this one on 32 count sand, which I think is really, it's just perfect with the other colors. It's really, really pretty. So the only thing I did different, and I forget who did this. Oh, I wish I could remember. She has like really stretched out letters, and I was in agreement. I didn't really care for that, and so I just stitched them as regular instead of like making them really, really wide. So I think I'm gonna frame this, but I'm not positive. Or, you know, maybe, I think I've seen it in, you know, matted on mat board and then tucked in a little springy wreath. So we'll see what happens on that one. Alrighty, now we get to see some finished objects. First off, before I forget, I showed this in my last video, but I redid it slightly. So I was talking about that I was, like, I would have preferred the stitch on an angle. I had it up and down at first, and so I was able to get that out of there and turn it. And then I reconfigured this little bow thing to do a different, more decorative thing to fill that in. And someone suggested, I was talking about like painting love or something like that. Someone suggested if I had a Cricut, cutting the letters out. Well, I don't, but my daughter does. So I talked to her briefly about that. I don't know, like I may or I may not. We'll see if it strikes my fancy next year, and you never know. So this has been sitting in my sewing room for a long time. It's the project that caused me to talk about tech in my last video, which is kind of like a stain remover type thing. And I guess I didn't tell the main part of the other way I had used it. I had, like, this was years ago too, a fancy dress that I had bought for a wedding or something, and then my friend borrowed it, and I don't know, she gave it back to me. It was on a hanger, and it was like a dress with a, like an over thing, and I carried it in at night. It was winter, and when I was going to go to hang it up the next day, I'm like, the top part that went over it was missing, and I'm like, well, I know she had it on there. So I go outside, and it's frozen. Frozen to the driveway. But as the sun came out, it melted a little bit, and I could get it off without damaging it. But it had this big, you know, it's just water from the snow, a big water spot. So I was kind of sad because I planned to wear the dress again, and I took it to the dry cleaners, and they were, you know, kind of mixed reaction. Well, they got it lighter, but you still could see it. And I thought, I can't wear it this way. It'll be ruined regardless. So I tried the tech on it. It got it right out. So, you know, I'm going to give my disclaimer again. Don't blame me if it wrecks your projects. But if you have a water stain, I'd give it a whirl if you are gonna start it over or throw away the fabric or whatever, because it worked great on my pillow for me. So this is Autumn Time, New York Dreamer. I was choosing between this olivey color binding or like kind of a orangey brown. And I did use the paisley on the back, guys. There's, I don't know, a long debate, and I just couldn't decide. But now I'm thinking, I don't know, like, do I like the green? It's one of those that I think I do, but I don't know. Like, part of me thinks, oh, you should have used the other color. But I think for now, I'm going to leave it. And then, you know, like next fall, if I have it out and really don't like it, I'll just rip it off because it's just hand stitched on. So not, I didn't glue it like, you know, many times I do glue trim on because I feel like, you know, what's the difference if I am going to keep it? It's not like I care. And that's a good point to make. There's many times where I'll finish something and, you know, I think it's what I want, but it's just not floating my boat. And so then sometimes there's a different way to do it and you like it much better. So I'm going to pause and go get one of the items because it's back there. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Originally, I had the monthly series of Little House Needleworks. Well, I'll just hold this up, but it's really yucked up because I pulled it off of there. But I had it just like centered on here, and you know, it was fine. I kind of liked it, but kind of didn't. And then I saw this little house, and I'm like, that would be perfect for those guys. My first two I stitched, I did on Monaco, and so they're a little bit bigger, but they fill in this area really nicely. The problem with this was, and that's why I painted the main part white, was there was a door, which was cute, but, you know, it would have made the stitch part kind of stick out wonky. So I got my husband to like chisel that off because I wanted the side that had this roof line. And I don't know, someday I was going to get him to try to do it here, but it seems simpler to pry the door off and just paint that white, and, you know, kind of sets off the block of stitching anyways. So, but, you know, I guess that is the good part. If you finish things yourself, is if it's not quite what you were looking for, then you can change it into something else. Okay, these are my finished pieces, a couple freebies, and this one I didn't really have good fabric, so I just stuck that in coffee and then made a little cording and just kept it really simple. This one I really like. Another freebie I showed in my last video. To Australia with Love. And I really didn't have good reds except for this one. And at first I was like kind of worried about the snowflakes, but I thought, no, it works. And the core, or the little pom-pom trim, was like pretty vibrant red, so I stuck it in my coffee cup, and I'm like, just left it in for a minute or two, and it really just toned it right down. So I really like that. And then this piece is Orchid Intrigue. This was a stitch along, Christmas stitch along, gifted to a few of us by Chris, and she did hers as a flat fold, and I really liked how it looked, and I thought, well, that's a nice simple finish, and then you can move it around. And I had this pretty print that I think goes perfectly with the fabric she dyed and the floss she chose, and I really like it. So thank you, Chris. And then my final piece is my wordplay SAL for February, and I'll put the wordplay, Lost in Wordplay SAL. I'm going to show this in the video clip at the end with a few little things that I had set up on it, but here's the stitch piece, and this time I just used ribbon instead of making bias to tie on. And I just have these tacked on, so if I want to do some other finish someday, I can. But it's on the cute little bench. I had, when I showed my January one, I had a ton of people ask me where the bench was from. And at the time, I couldn't remember because I bought it like it was 2 years ago. I remember seeing it and thinking that flat back will work perfectly for a cross stitch. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, it will be perfect for wordplay because you can just, you know, loop them on and change out what you stick on the bench part, and it works really, really well. So that's that one. What else has been going on? We, you know, obviously plenty of stitching time. I think I had a lot to show you this video. In addition to that, we had the 3 older grandkids for a 3-night sleepover, which was awesome. So much fun. They were so good, and the 5-year-old is like next time can we come for 3 nights? Which was, you know, I thought was really cute. I said, well, you know, with school you can't, and I have to work, so we'll have to wait till summer and figure that one out. But they were so good. Although I felt like I was running a diner. I mean, especially the middle child, he really can eat for a 5-year-old. So it's just like he'd ask for another, you know, serving of whatever and be like, "Are you sure?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." And he always ate everything that he asked for. So I guess that's better than the alternative. And then we baked some, because it was Super Bowl the next day, so we baked some cookies that were like peanut butter, and then they had chocolate on top that was in the shape of a football. And and our granddaughter, who at the time was 7, she likes pretending she's doing a cooking show, and she's so good at it. Look, it's just comical. Like, there were a couple times I just kind of wanted to laugh because she was so cute, but she'd be like, "Now why are you doing this?" And then she'd say, "Well, if you don't have this tool, you can always use this instead." And it was great. And then the next weekend we had her birthday. So it was good because we were doing the socially distanced, you know, no going in any stores or seeing anyone for like 10 days before the sleepover, and then all the way through to the next weekend. And so we went there, and she wanted me to make her cake, and she wanted a unicorn. So I did my best. But it made me realize that on Pinterest, the pictures are not always what the directions are. Like, I think there's times where someone gives their directions and they use someone else's picture, because I was making 4 layers and that's what the directions called for. But when I looked at their layers, they were much higher. They had used 8-inch cake pans and mine were 9. So the cake was wider and not as tall, which it still was cute, and she loved it. So, you know, that's what it's all about. So, yeah, I have to, well, I'll put a picture of this at the end, but of course we get the handmade thank you for the sleepover card, and part where I'm going to show the charts from Anne, and I'll check the other videos at the very, very end. So I love seeing some of these, because being out of stitching for all those years, I had no idea about them. So maybe these will bring back some memories to some of you. The first one is Sheepish Designs Rose Hill Sampler. Look at that pretty little red house. You know, and a lot of this is just pretty timeless. Then we have Ship Sampler by Merrily Beams. The Ferris Sampler Treasury, the Katie Bemis Sampler. This is really pretty. And then we have some Prairie Schoolers. These are Nursery Rhymes, book 27. Another Prairie Schooler, Wedding Birth Samplers 2. Prairie Schooler Nursery Rhymes 2, book 30. just can't get sick of prairie schoolers. I always think of them as comfort stitching. And then another one, the 3 pigs. It's funny. This one's another Sheepish Antiques, and it's Phoebe Tree. What a pretty border. And another one from Sheepish Designs, Heirs of the Green. I like that little rabbit in the grass. So thank you so much, Anne. That was so nice of you to think of me, and I really appreciate it, and look forward to the day that we can make our trip to Country Sampler again. It was a fun day. But in the meantime, we had, you know, I can't complain, because Midwest, you're used to this stuff, and you expect winter to be cold and snowy. It got cold and snowy, but at least the snow's been coming in manageable amounts for us, and, you know, maybe, well, I shouldn't say that. Like where I live, there's other areas south that have gotten hit a lot harder. So sorry to you people, but this morning I think we had maybe about 4 or 5 inches, and so I tested out my snowblower skills again, and I have my notes written down because I'm backup, so only when my husband isn't home, and so I have my notes written down in case I don't remember, but they didn't make that much sense to me because it's the first time I've done it this year. So, and I'm always like leery of, I don't want to blow the thing up or whatever. So if it doesn't do what I think it's supposed to do right away, I always just kind of wait and give them a call, and, you know, I'll take some pictures like, is this button supposed to be this way or whatever? So. But yeah, it was kind of nice. I did it on my lunch break, and it was nice to be outside and moving around. Everything's starting to drip and melt, and I think we have temps like well into the 30s, maybe close to 40. So that'll be great. Melt some of this because March is just around the corner. So that's pretty exciting to have made it through winter, and, you know, people are getting their shots now. I'm going to see my mom tomorrow after work, and she has had her first one, and hopefully we'll have her second one. So, you know, hopefully the tide is turning, and as we get into summer, of course, we can be outside with people again. So I feel like, you know, you get to this point in winter, and even if March is really bad, typically we've gone away in March the last couple of years, so both my husband and I are having a little bit of withdrawals, but we'll handle it. So, oh, and before I forget, Jill, it's too cold, but I do have my shirt on. This was my Christmas gift from Jill. So, Jill, thank you. And I will wear it plain once it warms up. So, I'm like, oh, I'm, especially this part of the house is really drafty, so I'm sitting here with my, like, extra heavy ply wool socks on, and usually an Afghan on my lap. So, but anyways, I hope that you guys are all getting a lot of stitching done, and it seems like the really tough weather that many of you experienced the last week or two is starting to subside, so I hope everyone has made it through safely, and new appreciation for what us Midwesterners go through. But as someone mentioned, you know, we are built for it. Not not physically, but we know how to deal with it, and we're used to it. So we have the equipment, and that makes the biggest difference. And our houses are built for the cold, and it is just different. It's not like cities shut down when it gets cold or snowy here. So you just kind of, take it slow and keep moving. So anyways, I'm getting really, really close to 6,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. We're getting really close to having a giveaway. I think, I mentioned I have a couple duplicate charts from Leanne, and, thinking of some other things. So hopefully, maybe my next video I can show you guys what I have planned for you. So until then, have a great time stitching. Continue to fill the world with love, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello there. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny Saturday here in Wisconsin. We've had a streak of really cold temperatures. So today is finally, I think we're finally seeing the sun, no winds. The morning started out really chilly. It was like 5 degrees when I walked with my friends, but we were all bundled up, and once you get moving, it's fine. But I just wanted to show my Valentine stuff because I am going to put it away today. And rather than try to hold this one up, well, maybe I will anyways, but this is the wordplay for February. I really loved how it turned out. And this time, instead of making like little bias tapes, I just tacked some ribbon on, and I think that works just as well. I have a heart gingerbread cookie, the non-edible kind my mom made years ago, and she used puffy paint to put Be Mine on it. And there's my red heart from Rebecca, which I just love. I always find a place for it. This frame, I think I got at Goodwill, and next year I want to have some sort of Valentine decoration in there. I found this, excuse my reach, this little, I think it's like a little calling card, because I don't know about this stuff, but it has someone's name on the inside. So not quite sure what that's about, or if it was just like a little Valentine. And then there's my runner from Anna, which I love. And here is my finished piece from Chris. It was a stitch along. She dyed the fabric and gave us the chart and floss and many other accoutrements to go with it. She did hers as a flat fold, and I thought that looked so pretty. I wanted to do mine the same way. And this is just a doll from my childhood. I think these were made in England. They have like felt hands on them, but the faces are so pretty. When we were really young, we would always get Madame Alexander dolls, the smaller ones. And then right before my doll collecting phase was over, I have 2 of this kind of doll. I'm not even sure what it is, but this is a freebie piece that I stitched last year, so you've seen that. This is another freebie piece I did this year. I don't know, maybe you can't see it tilted over. And then right here is, this was To Australia with Love. And I didn't really have a good red to use with it because it was such variegated thread. It's the DMC that's variegated. But I thought the snowflake, it looks cute. And the red chenille was a little bit on the bright side, so I just dunked that in some leftover coffee. And that was my mom's tomato. And I have to show you this. This was a chart designed by Tracy, Wrought Iron Stitches or Stitcher. She has an Etsy shop, and this chart is in there. I just love it. The phrase "fill the world with love" is incorporated, and one of these days I'm going to stitch it myself too. But she made this pillow for me, which I just love, and such a heartwarming piece. And then a couple other things. I have one other stitched Be My Valentine. And this was my mom's little tin. But we call our granddaughter Sweetie Pie, or my husband really does. And so when I saw it had that on it, I'm like, oh, it's got to stay. And then the little vintagey looking Valentine. So little by little, I hope to get, some more of the little pillows and that sort of thing mixed in. But this pocket watch was my grandfather's, so I usually have it displayed on a fancy frame, but just plopped it in there since it was a little bare. A couple other things I'm going to show you. Hold on. And then this is the best idea ever. We planted a bunch of bulbs this year in fall, and we had some left over. So my husband threw them in this pot and left them outside till I think after Christmas, sometime after New Year's, and brought them in, and they started to grow. So it's wonderful. One's blooming, and there's a couple others that are popping up. So hopefully the container will be full pretty soon. But in the meantime, it's just, well, you can see the snow outside. It's just been so cheery and fun to check them every morning and see what stage everyone's at.